Right now, above your head, there's a hole in your house you can't see. It's not in the roof tiles. It's not in a window. It's sitting quietly in your loft, and it's the reason your boiler works twice as hard as it needs to. Every winter, thousands of pounds worth of heat rises straight up through British ceilings and vanishes into the attic. And most homeowners never find out until they open a heating bill that makes them wince. Today, I'm going to show you exactly how that heat escapes, how to spot it in your own home, and how one weekend upgrade in your loft can make every room downstairs feel noticeably warmer without touching your thermostat. Heat rises. Every schoolchild learns that line, but very few people ever stop to ask what it actually means for their own house. It means that whatever isn't stopping that heat on its way up is costing you money every single hour of every single day, all winter long. In a typical UK home, a badly insulated loft can be responsible for around a quarter of all the heat you lose. Think about that for a moment. You could be paying full price to heat your living room, your bedroom, your kitchen, and a full quarter of that warmth just floats straight up through the ceiling and disappears through the roof space above. Most people never see this happening, which is exactly why it goes unfixed for years, sometimes decades. Nobody hears a hiss of escaping heat. There's no drip, no crack, no obvious sign of damage the way there is with a leaking pipe or a broken window. The loss is silent, it's slow, and it's incredibly easy to ignore because the room where it's actually happening, the loft, is the one room in the house that most of us visit maybe twice a year, usually just to shove the Christmas decorations back into a corner. So why does this happen in the first place? British homes, especially those built before the 1990s, were often insulated to a standard that made sense decades ago, when energy was cheap and building regulations were far less demanding. Many lofts still have old insulation from the original build, sometimes just 50 or 75 millimeters of loose material sitting between the joists. That might have felt adequate in 1975. It is nowhere near enough today. Even in homes where insulation was added later, it's often been disturbed. Boxes get shoved on top of it, flattening the material and destroying the pockets of trapped air that actually do the insulating work. Pipes get run through it. Cable installers push it aside and never put it back properly. Over the years, insulation that started out doing a reasonable job slowly degrades into something far less effective, and because nobody's checking, nobody notices. Here's the part that surprises most homeowners. This is one of the cheapest, fastest home improvements you can make, and yet it's one of the most overlooked. People will happily spend thousands on a new boiler, assuming that's the answer to a cold, expensive-to-heat home. And a new boiler can help. But if the heat the boiler produces is escaping through an under-insulated loft, you're essentially paying to heat the attic and from there, the sky above it. That's why this upgrade matters so much. It's not about buying a new appliance or ripping out walls. It's about stopping the heat you're already paying for from leaving the building in the first place. Before we talk about the fix, let's talk about how to actually assess what's going on above your ceiling, because the signs are there if you know where to look. Start with the depth test. Grab a torch and head up into the loft on a dry day. Look at the insulation lying between the joists, those horizontal timber beams running across the floor of the loft space. If you can still clearly see the tops of those joists poking up above the insulation, you've got a problem. Current UK recommendations call for insulation depth of around 270 millimeters for mineral wool. If what you're looking at is noticeably shallower than that, sitting at maybe 50 or 100 millimeters, you're losing far more heat than you need to. Look for flattened patches. Insulation works by trapping air, and trapped air is what actually slows heat transfer. The moment insulation gets compressed by a stored suitcase, an old ladder, a stack of boxes, it loses a huge amount of its effectiveness. Walk the loft, if it's safe to do so on boards, and look for areas where the material looks pressed down, patchy, or disturbed compared to the rest. Check for gaps around the edges. Insulation often gets pulled away from the eaves, the low points where the roof meets the walls, either because it was never installed properly there or because it's shifted over time. These edge gaps matter more than people think, because cold air sneaking in around the perimeter can undermine the insulation across the whole loft. Look downstairs too. Some of the clearest signs of a poorly insulated loft don't show up in the attic at all. They show up in daily life. Upstairs bedrooms that never quite warm up, no matter how long the heating's been on. Radiators that seem to be working overtime for very little reward. Condensation forming on upstairs windows on cold mornings because warm, moist air is struggling against cold surfaces. And, of course, the bill itself. A steady creep upward in your energy costs that doesn't line up with any change in how you're using your heating. In snow or heavy frost, check your roof from outside. This one's a genuinely useful trick. After a cold, frosty night, take a look at your roof and your neighbor's roofs. A well-insulated roof will hold a fairly even covering of frost or light snow because very little heat is escaping through it. A poorly insulated roof often shows patches where the frost melts away first, or thin, uneven patterns. A visual map of exactly where your heat is punching through. None of these checks require any special tools. A torch, a dry afternoon, and a bit of patience is all it takes to build a clear picture of whether your loft is doing its job. Now, let's get into how this actually gets fixed, because this is genuinely one of the more approachable jobs in home improvement. No specialist trade required for most standard lofts, just care and the right materials. Step 1. Safety first. Before anything else, sort out how you're going to move around the loft safely. Never step directly on the joists alone without boards or a walking plank if the loft isn't already boarded. Oh, and absolutely never step on the insulation itself or the plasterboard ceiling beneath it. That ceiling won't take your weight, and it's an easy way to end up putting a leg through into the room below. Wear a decent dust mask, ideally an FFP3 rated one, along with gloves and long sleeves. Mineral wool insulation, while very effective, can irritate skin and lungs if you're working with it directly. So protecting yourself properly isn't optional. It's the first real step of the job. Step 2, clear and inspect. Before adding anything new, clear the loft of stored items and take a proper look at what's underneath. This is your chance to check the timber joists for any signs of damp, rot, or pest damage, and to spot any electrical cables that need attention before they get buried under new insulation. It's also worth checking that soffit vents at the eaves, the small gaps that allow air to flow into the roof space, aren't blocked, because good ventilation actually helps protect your roof timbers from damp, even while you're improving insulation. Step 3, choose your material. For most standard lofts, mineral wool insulation, sold in rolls, is the most common and cost-effective choice, and it's very manageable for a confident DIYer. It comes in different thicknesses, and the goal is usually to build up to that 270 millimeter total depth. Some installers use 2 layers, one laid between the joists and a second laid at right angles across the top of the joists, which helps eliminate the cold bridging that happens through the timber itself. For lofts with very limited headroom, or for people who want a slightly higher performance option, rigid insulation boards are an alternative, though they tend to cost more and require more precise cutting. Step 4. Lay the first layer between the joists. Roll out the insulation between the joists, pressing it down gently so it sits snugly but isn't compressed. Remember, trapped air is what does the work, so cramming it in tightly actually reduces performance. Cut it to length with a sharp knife or scissors, working carefully around any obstructions like cables or pipework. Make sure it reaches right into the corners and up to the eaves, without blocking those soffit vents you checked earlier. Step 5. Add the cross layer. If you're going for full depth, lay a second roll running perpendicular to the first, directly over the top of the joists. This is what really transforms performance, because it stops heat sneaking through the timber joists themselves, which conduct heat far more readily than the insulation does. Push this layer gently into place and let it sit naturally. No need to compress it. Step 6. Deal with hatches, pipes, and tanks. An insulation upgrade is only as good as its weakest point, and loft hatches are a classic weak spot. Fit an insulated loft hatch cover, or simply attach a rigid insulation board to the back of the existing hatch to stop heat pouring straight out through that opening. If there's a cold water tank in the loft, insulate around and over it, but leave the underside uninsulated so that a little rising heat from the room below helps protect the pipework from freezing. Lag any exposed pipework in the loft, too, since a burst pipe from freezing is a far more expensive problem than the cost of a bit of pipe lagging. Step 7. Reinstate storage properly if you need it. If you use the loft for storage, don't just pile boxes straight back onto fresh insulation. That flattens it and undoes your work almost immediately. Raised loft boarding systems exist specifically for this, sitting on small support legs above the insulation, so the material underneath stays uncompressed while you still get usable storage space on top. Common mistakes to avoid. Compressing the insulation is the big one. Thicker isn't better if you've squashed all the air out of it. Blocking the eaves. Ventilation is another, since trapping moisture in the roof space can lead to condensation and rot over time, which creates a far more expensive problem than the one you started with. And skipping the loft hatch and pipe lagging is a mistake people make constantly, because it's easy to focus on the big open expanse of the loft floor and forget the smaller gaps that let heat slip out just as easily. A few things worth knowing before you start, or even if you've already got some insulation up there. Aim for the right depth, not just more. Current guidance points to around 270 millimeters for mineral wool. Going beyond that brings rapidly diminishing returns. You're better off making sure that depth is even and uncompressed across the whole loft than piling on far more than necessary in one corner. Don't ignore ventilation. It sounds counterintuitive to leave gaps on purpose in a job that's all about stopping air movement, but the small gap at the eaves matters. Roof timbers need airflow to stay dry, and blocking that off in the name of insulation can trade a heating bill problem for a much costlier damp and rot problem. Think about the loft hatch and any downlights. Recessed ceiling lights, common in newer kitchens and bathrooms, often need special fire-rated covers if insulation is going to be placed near them, since standard insulation piled directly against certain light fittings can be a fire risk. If your ceiling has downlights, it's worth checking the fitting type before insulating over that area. Weigh up DIY against professional installation. A straightforward loft with easy access, no damp issues, and no complicated pipework is very achievable as a weekend DIY project. Lofts with limited headroom, extensive existing damage, or knob and tube style old wiring are better handed to a professional, both for safety and because building regulations can apply to certain types of loft conversion or insulation work. Understand the payback. Loft insulation is consistently one of the fastest paying back home improvements available. Because the materials themselves are relatively inexpensive and the job doesn't require specialist tools, many homeowners see the cost of the upgrade recovered through lower energy bills well within a couple of heating seasons. And then it simply continues saving money year after year for as long as the insulation stays in good condition, which, if it's protected from compression and damp, can be decades. Picture the loft as it was: insulation thin, patchy in places, gaps around the eaves, heat leaking upward hour after hour without anyone noticing. Now picture it after the upgrade: an even, unbroken blanket of material stretching across the entire loft floor, edges tucked neatly into the eaves without blocking ventilation, the hatch sealed, the pipework lagged. The difference isn't something you'll necessarily see with your eyes from downstairs. What you'll feel is a bedroom that holds its warmth long after the heating clicks off in the evening. What you'll notice is the boiler cycling less often, because it isn't fighting a constant invisible drain of heat through the ceiling. And what you'll eventually see, quite clearly, is a lower number on your energy statement, month after month, from a job that took a weekend and didn't involve a single tradesman's invoice. This is one of those upgrades that doesn't ask for much. No major building work, no huge investment, no disruption to daily life. Just some time in the loft, the right material laid to the right depth, and a bit of care around the details that people usually miss, like the hatch and the pipework. In exchange, you get a warmer home, a boiler that isn't working overtime, and a bill that finally starts to reflect the effort you've put in to heat your own house, rather than the sky above it. If you found this useful and you'd like more practical, no-nonsense home improvement guides like this one, hit subscribe so you don't miss the next upgrade. There's plenty more where this came from.